Hello, and welcome to Young Global Leaders, where we get the chance to hear from young people hailing from all around the world, sharing about themselves, their accomplishments, and their vision for a better world. Recently, I had the privilege of leading a group of about 100 young people from over 40 countries to 7 global regions on an 8-month global gap year program. Most of them had just graduated from high school, though we also had a few older students. During our 8+ months together, the students formed a deeply loving and supportive community. Anyone could see that they had built something unique and inspiring. Through my eyes as a teacher, coach, and global leadership consultant, what I saw was unlike anything I'd seen before. When the program ended, I desperately wanted to keep in touch with these students and to share their example with the world. So I started the Young Global Leaders podcast. Today we hear from Bohdan Mashurovskyi. Bohdan Mashurovskyi, welcome.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm just so excited that we're able to have some time together to chat. Why don't we just get started with, could you share with our listeners where you are joining us from today?
I will happy to do so. So I'm joining in today from the intellectual heart of East Anglia, the city built around the bridge over the River Cam. So guess where I'm from, Jason?
The bridge over the River Cam. Where could that possibly be? Let's see. Cambridge in the UK?
Yes. This is Cambridge in the UK. This is where I'm joining you today.
Excellent.
And
thank you for taking the time to chat with us. Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Bohdan.
What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'm joining from my home here in the San Francisco Bay Area in California in the United States, in the town of Albany, which very few people have heard of. It's right next to the city of Berkeley, and it's right across the bay from the city of San Francisco. And it's a cool, gray, typical summer day here by the bay.
Wow.
Good. Well, could you start out by sharing with our listeners what makes you, you?
Wow, that's a fantastic question, Jason. While I might not have a grand ancestral tale like you do, like the one that you shared with us during the Beret program, talking about your ancestors from Middle East and Russia, but from that limited superficial knowledge I have, I know that I, like many other people in my region, Eastern Europe, just a mix of, like, ethnically speaking, mix of different ethnicities such as Polish, Moldovan, probably Serbian, Russian, and many others. But I would say my primary ethnic and national identity is Ukrainian, because this is the place where I was born and raised, Ukraine. I was there in central Ukraine, in the steppes filled with the Cossack spirits and songs. My childhood was wholesome. I grew up in a rural area in a family of 7 siblings. Back home I would cycle among the fields and forests, swim in a lake, and walk around the house and farm. I was trying to be curious, and not only in academics but also in sports. So I tried like volleyball, football, basketball, boxing, MMA, and so on. But what I really stuck to was scouting, which had a profound impact on me and helped me to grow as a person. It was a great school of life that laid the foundation for the qualities and skills and values that propelled me further in life, leading to volunteering and civic activism at the Youth Parliament and completing the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award in the UK, and so on. So my rural upbringing combined with the grit from scouting, a curious mind, and a desire to go beyond is probably what makes me, me.
I can say just from my experiences with you during our time together, both of those traits, your endless curiosity and desire to go beyond, really come through loud and clear.
Thank you, Jason.
There's so much that I want to ask you about. I guess I'll start with, just based on what you just shared, I didn't know you had 7 siblings. Where do you fit in the birth order?
It's a great question. Um, I'm third, and I think this is uh, one of the best positions to be in the middle because you get this love from your older siblings, this care, right, which you might not have get if you are the eldest. And at the same time, you have the younger siblings, uh, who you can share that love, that siblings love with. So I think being in the middle is the perfect place.
I love that. Can you share with us how you got connected with Beret Scholars, which is the organization that we were both affiliated with, where we went on this global adventure? How did you learn about Beret, and then how did you end up joining the program?
Great question. Well, I was in the last year in my high school in the UK, and I was not sure what I should pursue after graduation, like what would be my next step. And I was thinking of taking a gap year as my peers did. So I was looking for different gap year opportunities, and I found Beret Scholars, and I was just struck by it. I couldn't believe that such program can exist. Like it combined all like best traits of the gap year program uh, that a gap year program can have, and it provided so many opportunities and uh, like possibilities to do things and etc. So I just thought that it would be a wonderful opportunity if I just had a chance to be part of this gap year program. Um, I was hesitant whether I would get in such program. You know, it had a global scale, so it must have been very competitive. And I was like, probably it's unlikely that I actually would get in. I'm not sure if I'm good enough to be a good fit for this program. And I realized that, well, if I apply, I won't lose anything, right? So let's give it a shot. And I applied. I had the interview and was really, really fortunate to get a place. And yeah, that's how I learned about Beret and how I applied and got in.
When did you get the good news?
I think it was the 5th of May, 2024. It was the day when I found out that I I got an email with an offer that invites me to join Beret Scholars.
Turning more to your background, so you were born and raised in Ukraine, and then at some point you moved to the UK. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So I, as I said, was trying to be curious, and I also tried to take care of my academics and my academic performance, and I was striving for getting a good education. I was looking for opportunities of studying abroad since early childhood, and I did apply for various programs and exchanges. And at some point, I applied to this program called HMC in Central and Eastern Europe. Uh, that allowed me to join a British boarding school in the UK and study A levels.
And was it a difficult decision to leave home and go to the UK?
A good question. As I said, like was trying to be curious and kind of ready for adventure. But at that time, yeah, of course it was difficult because like I would be the only one who would be able to go to the UK, right? I would have to leave my friends and family for at least 2 years, right? And while there were some things that hold me back, but I knew that it would be better if I go to the UK and just take up this wonderful opportunity that I was fortunate to get. In addition to that, it was in 2022, so the war in Ukraine broke out. It was an additional kick to go abroad.
Is your family still in Ukraine?
Yeah, my family and friends are all in Ukraine.
And I understand it's completely fine if you'd rather not talk about this. How is your family doing? That's the question number one. And then related to that is, what has it been like for you to be separated from them during this time?
It's definitely not easy to be away from your loved ones, especially knowing that they are not in the best and the most safe place in the world. In Ukraine, it's all relative. Obviously, there are places that are very dangerous, places that are extremely dangerous, places that are just dangerous, and there are just different gradations of dangerous. But my family is in relatively safe place. It's all relative, as I said. So I'm glad they've been all right. Although they have witnessed like the troubles of the war and all these, like shaheeds and missiles in the sky, etc. And it's definitely hard, but you just I don't know, need to accept realities and pray for them while you're here and do everything that you can kind of help them. I know that while I'm here, I'm getting educated, kind of getting resources, and just becoming best version of myself who will potentially be able to help them in the future and kind of alleviate the issues and problems that have been brought by this war.
I appreciate your willingness to share all of that. And I also want the listeners to know that you offered us, the entire Beret community, the opportunity to learn more about the historical background also. In Nairobi, you put together and delivered an extremely informative presentation that went back many, many centuries about relations between Russia and Ukraine, broadly speaking, right? Because the definitions of these places has shifted so much over the centuries. But I also just want to thank you for putting that together and sharing that with all of us.
It's been an honor to talk about my homeland in that day, the third anniversary of this war, and to kind of educate people, to share my knowledge and my perspective on it with our fellows and Beret scholars and other people who were present there.
Well, we all benefited a great deal from you sharing your knowledge and your experiences and your perspectives. So we've mentioned Beret scholars several times, and while eight and a half months on the road with about 100 peers, going to 7 different regions is very difficult to summarize in any kind of a brief way. I'm wondering, what's front of mind? It's now been just over 2 months since the program ended. And when you think back on the experience, what kinds of things are front of mind? What comes to mind first?
The first thing that comes into my mind is just how many gradations of different things there are, how colorful our world is, in the way that it's not just black and white, not just good and bad, but there are plenty of other kind of colors and shades, how large it is, and how, despite all of our differences, we can find the common ground and find the common language and find the things that unite us.
I love that as a general statement, and it's exactly that keeps me coming back to this kind of educational experience and trying to be a part of it. I'm wondering if you might be able to make it a little bit more concrete. For example, maybe if you have any stories about, crossing bridges from a cultural standpoint, or maybe a time when you had a conversation with a fellow student or with other fellow students where you managed to overcome some differences or appreciate some differences. Just really anything along the along the lines of cross-cultural communication. Have you got any stories that you could share with us?
I mean, there have been many kind of stories, occasions, places where we had to exercise cross-cultural communication. It would be difficult to pick just one, but I think what are the crucial things that you must bear in mind is to stay empathetic towards other people, not to listen in a judgmental way, but to stay open-minded and realize that people have different backgrounds, they went through different things, they were raised with different perspectives, and instead of just jumping into conclusions, you just must try to listen to these people instead of listen to them. I mean, listen to them with open mind and open heart, not with a judgmental outlook and trying to find the words that you could use against them.
So that sounds wonderful. Is it easy?
Oh no, of course not, because when you have these like two opposite perspectives clashing, you may become, I don't know, angry, defensive, and you want to reject this opinion because it just kind of dares to attack something that is very dear to you, or something that the belief that you hold from your early childhood, from the very beginning of your life, and now it's being challenged. Of course, it's not easy. You just become very defensive and protective, and you want to just close up and either ignore this person or give your emotional explosion on that person who tries to push. It seems to you that they try to push or enforce something, and although it might not be true.
I appreciate your honesty about that and about the challenges. It's easy to talk about getting along and listening with empathy and all of that, and I really appreciate how you just shared some of the challenges, like what are the actual feelings that you're experiencing. How have you managed to listen with empathy and with an open mind and with an open heart when you're experiencing all of those feelings that you just described?
Great question. It's definitely not easy. As I said, you just become defensive of what you hold dear, but you just must stay calm. You must stay conscious. Probably breathe in and breathe out slowly. Just come down and try to understand that people may have different values, different upbringing, and other factors that shapes them. So they just simply may be kind of ruled by other principles or different values. Saying cliche, but that's how it works, I would say. Everyone is just acting not being based on the objective reality, but being based on their understanding about this reality. And these understandings of our reality is plenty, and they may clash. And what one would do, one who wants to stay calm in this like clashes of perspectives or cultures, is just remain open-minded and empathetic.
So I'm gonna dig just a little bit deeper and ask you. So, I mean, I'm very familiar with the emotional state that you described. That is the, feeling defensive and feeling potentially, attacked. And, in those moments, it's really easy to just shut down, walk away, leave the room. Just that's it can just be so easy to kind of give up. What's your motivation? Why bother? I guess is the question. Why bother to go through the breathing and whatever other work that you're doing to remain calm, to remain open-minded, to remain empathetic, when it might just be easier to give up?
Oh, well, it might be easier to give up, but then you won't be able to make kind of well-informed, clear decisions in your life. If you live in your own illusions, yeah, I mean, you can somehow keep up, but the decisions that you make, they will be, as I said, they won't be based on the objective reality. They will be based on the understanding of your reality. I mean, of course, it's probably for us humans impossible to appreciate the entirety of our universe and being based on the objective reality, but at least you can expand your viewpoint, right? Expand your outlook and try to understand clear understanding of things. You would better explore all perspectives and all these things. Same cliche, but that's how it works. Yeah, it helps you to find the truth in myriad of complexities, and just to make better decisions in your life.
I love that. The particular phrase that you just used, living in our illusions, I think it's a pretty radical thing to say, because our brains are wired to believe what we see, hear, etc., to believe that our perceptions are objectively true, because that is what allows us to survive in many situations, right? When our survival is at risk, we don't have time to consider whether the perceived threat is an illusion. We just need to react very, very quickly to ensure our survival. So I think I really want our listeners to really reflect on that language that you used. We can choose to live with our, I already forget, the illusions is the word that really stuck with me. Listeners can rewind and find the exact words that you used. But to be able to reframe our own perceptions as illusions, I think that's the radical piece that I really want to highlight. That pivoting from what I perceive to be true is true, pivoting from that to I'm actually living in a world of illusions just like everyone else, and we need to kind of figure out. And then you also use the word expand, right? Expand the possibility space of, the space of possible viewpoints, and that can lead us to something much bigger with a lot more possibilities in it. Does that feel like an accurate reflection of what you're expressing?
Yeah, thank you very much for finding like these points from my waffle, my yapping here. That's exactly what I'm trying to say to our audience.
It's so funny because, you call it yapping because, I think when we're splashing around a little bit, it might feel to ourselves like we're yapping. But I found that what you were saying to be extremely coherent and right on point. And I appreciate your willingness to go there, to follow me into my digging into the depths.
Well, it's a pleasure, Jason. I'm glad I'm here and talking about such important things with you.
So in a related vein, what I want to probe next is how you have grown personally, and I think you've already shared a little bit. Clearly, you really took the opportunities of this beret year to heart and tried to make the most of them, and have managed to expand your worldview in many ways. And so I think you've already answered part of this question about how you have grown. And I'm wondering if there are other ways that you can think of that you have grown throughout the experience.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this question. There are obviously a lot of ways I could potentially grown up and have grown up. And like the most important ones that I would like to highlight is that, and that would be related to my previous speech, is that you probably can't fix anyone, right? You can't really teach anyone. Learning is always, or very often, is internal process. You can testify something, what you believe in, who you are, and what you do, but like these crucial transformations, this learning comes, like it happens internally. It happens within people. It's, I think, very difficult just to come to someone and kind of impose or enlighten someone, right? With some sort of ideas or, I don't know, concepts, etc. You can testify them, you can say them, you can share them, you can share what you believe in, what you do, but only those who are around you, like, they won't be immediately enlightened and accept everything that you want to deliver to them. Like, certain transformation, they must happen by their kind of conscious choice and on their own. You can kind of accelerate it. You can help them to learn something, to learn people, but you can't kind of fix people. It's what one of our morning program speakers in India said. That's like person who inspired me to this takeaway. His lesson is my inspiration for this takeaway.
Do you remember who that speaker was?
I can't recall his name, but he is a Hindu monk, and he told us an amazing story with a ladder of sorrow.
Did you say ladder of sorrow?
Yeah, ladder of sorrow. You might remember that story. I don't know. I can share this little story with you about the ladder of sorrow and the example that he used.
Please do.
Yeah. So he was saying that we live in an impermanent world where we humans are eternal beings, but we live in this temporary flesh that seeks happiness, right? And while we have these eternal souls, they have desire for eternal happiness, not impermanent ones as our body. And then he talks about this ladder of sorrow. Like, let's imagine there is a college and a guy named Victor encounters a sweetheart named Maisie. They get to know each other, they chat, and he got a crush on her. And Victor believes she will make him happy and tries to pursue Maisie, but he actually steps on the first ladder of sorrow, which is called kama, or desire, which means the craving for worldly objects, experiences, or relationships. And whereas Maisie probably hardly noticed Victor, Victor does not want to think about it. He believes that Maisie is the love of his life, and he basically finds an event where she was going to, and Victor prepares himself in the best way. He gets a fresh haircut, dresses up, puts on the perfume, and just keeps Maisie in his mind. He arrives to this event, and he's seen Maisie talking to another guy. He gets at this stage. He then gets to another step of this ladder called moha, or delusion, which is attachment, right? Which is caused by attachment, and he loses his mind. He becomes jealous, and he believes that Maisie betrayed him. Like, he held Maisie so dear, but now he's seeing that Maisie is talking to someone else, and something that is called karma happens. I think everyone is familiar with this term, and it means entanglement. He decides to cause a pain, and he comes to Maisie, he slaps her, and she, like person who unintentionally caused this pain to him, suffers as well. Maisie slaps him back, and then Victor ends up in the court, pays fine, and experience even more pain, and so on. So this is what is the ladder of sorrow, like a little example of it, this ladder of sorrow. And then he talked about how we could avoid climbing this ladder, and then he offered some kind of tools and approaches, such as recognizing that we live in an impermanent world, everything is temporarily, and while our eternal kind of soul is looking for eternal happiness, we must stay detached from worldly things and seeking happiness from temporary stuff, and try to look for happiness from within. We must not become slaves of those impermanent things and relationships. It's obviously good to have them, but you must never become too attached to something. You can and you should enjoy relationship with people and experiences and so on, but your desires must be transformed to preferences, and you must not stay attached to them. And while you may encounter negative emotions, you don't need to let them to control you. That's kind of takeaways that I got from this wonderful story and wonderful monk that in Delhi.
Well, it's clear what a deep impression it left, because you were able to sort of recapitulate that entire concept of the ladder of sorrow. So thank you for sharing that with us. And also, I'm seeing how it's very directly connected to what you were sharing with us about managing those difficult emotions around differences. That it's really easy to have that create additional suffering. Like, let's say we lash out at somebody for expressing a viewpoint that we feel conflicts with our values, that can then end up climbing the ladder of sorrow. And that is really the theme that I hear you pointing to, is we really just got to look inside of ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on that theme, continuing that theme, in the context of programs like Beret, we talk a lot about learning. And what I'm wondering is if you've reflected at all on this, if you'd be able to share anything that you might have unlearned during your travels.
Wow, what a profound question. It's unlearning is also an important part of kind of learning, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of it
Living a better
specifically in the
life.
context of,
Yeah.
we can't grow too attached
Hmm.
to our viewpoints and to our feelings. And you could think of that attachment as a kind of knowing or a kind of certainty. And if that's the case, maybe there's some certain instances where letting go might benefit us. And that's the connection that I'm seeing there and why I'm asking that question right now. So, have you got any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. And one of the things that I have learned is just try to look for happiness kind of from within, as the monk said. And during Boray, we were traveling a lot. We changed places constantly. We encountered a lot of people. Like we could be in New York, right, for 3 weeks. We found our favorite places there. We um, met with the local people, kind of build connections there, try to foster friendship, and then you just need to leave to another place for a fellowship, right, or another region,
Mm-hmm.
and you always in this movement, and you just can't stay attached to one place, and you always have to leave, but kind of remember and cherish the moments you spent with uh, people in those places.
Mm. I love that reflection, and it's also bringing to mind for me how challenging transitions can be, but also what opportunities they present us with, because every transition involves some letting go. And we
Yeah,
were doing that all the time during our traveling year. I mean, it never ceased to amaze me. We would arrive in a new region, a new home-based city, and it's all exciting. And, ooh, we've got 3 weeks here, and then blink our eyes, and it's time to go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bahrain is like the best place to exercise this skill of letting go, probably.
Like a training ground.
Yeah,
I like that. I really hadn't thought about that until you framed it that way. So thank you for that.
a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me today.
Sure. Oh, we're not quite done yet because I've got 2 more quick questions for you.
All right, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right. Thank you. The first of them is, can you share what is coming next for you?
Right, I'm going to study engineering, mechatronic systems to be specific, in the University of Essex here in the
And for the
UK.
listeners, because when you and I chatted when we were not recording, and you explained mechatronics is what again?
It's a mix of mechanical and electronic engineering.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Okay. So university
Yeah, university in October.
in October. All right. And then my last question is, and I kind of feel like you've already done this for us, but I want to see if you have any additional thoughts along these lines, which is the world that we live in is full of suffering, and a lot of that suffering is caused by humans. And it can be very easy to feel overwhelmed. It can be very easy to lose hope. Have you got any words to encourage us about the future?
Yeah, just stay hopeful, and light always wins the dark. So everything will be fine. Don't worry. It will work out in the best possible way, no matter what hardships we encounter at the moment.
I love that. And um, my advice to our listeners would be hang out with Bohdan, because he emanates, really, Bohdan, you emanate calm and optimism and strength and patience and determination and persistence and all kinds of really important attributes that if every human being had, I think the state of the world would be quite different. So I want to thank you also for modeling what it means to be a truly open-minded, open-hearted, and empathetic human being.
Oh, Jason, thank you so much. And thank you for being my teacher throughout the Beret Scholars Program. It's been awesome to learn from you and get really working kind of tools and approaches that helped me throughout this year to talk with people from all over the world and then communicate with them effectively and collaborate on different things, different ideas and projects.
Well, it's been truly my honor and my privilege, and I'm so happy that we have the chance to keep the conversation going. So on that note, we'll call our conversation to a conclusion. One more thank you to you, Bohdan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Bohdan. If you did, please tell at least one friend about it. Give us a 5-star rating and follow the podcast. That will help others find us. Until next time, let's keep our heads clear and our hearts open.